Hi everyone, Dr. Margaret Paul here. I want to talk about Serenity, which is about controlling what you can and accepting what you cannot control. We're all facing a time of so much helplessness, but there are actually things that we can control and that we do need to control. So learning to focus on what we can control rather than what we can't can help bring about greater inner peace. So let's first talk about what we cannot control. We can't control others. Whenever we try to, we generally create more problems like resistance because nobody likes to be controlled. We can't control others in our environment, and we can't control others on the planet. Even though we might see others doing things that are harmful to themselves and harmful to each other, we don't have control over that. We can't control events and situations like the Corona-19 virus. We don't have control over what's happening over that on the planet. We do have control over some things regarding that, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but we don't have control over the external environment regarding what's happening with that. And we don't have control over outcomes. As much as we try to, life goes on the way it's going to go on, and we don't control what happens. We don't control outcomes with situations. And so these are the kinds of things that we need to accept and actually not dwell on, because dwelling on what you cannot control is what creates a lot of stress. And right now, stress is not what we want in our lives. We don't need more stress. We got enough going on externally. We don't need to be creating it internally. So let's talk about what we can control. First of all, the most important thing that we can control is our intention. And as many of you know, in the inner bonding process, there's only two intentions to choose from. One is the intention to protect against our painful feelings with some form of controlling behavior. Now, like I said, we can't control others in external situations, but sometimes people try to control their own feelings. They don't want to feel what they feel. But the problem is that most of the things that we do to try and control our feelings create a lot of pain, like judging yourself to not feel your helplessness can create a lot of anxiety. Ignoring your feelings, these are forms of self-abandonment, can make you feel depressed. And so when we try and control our feelings, we create pain. Even though we're trying to avoid pain, we're trying to avoid the deeper pain of the loneliness that many people are feeling, the helplessness over this situation, the grief over loss, the heartbreak over what's happening. But what we do to try and control these deeper feelings creates feelings like anxiety and depression and anger and guilt and shame and aloneness and helplessness and jealousy, all sorts of feelings that we create when we judge ourselves, when we ignore our feelings, when we turn to various addictions, when we make other people responsible for our feelings. That creates emptiness inside because we're abandoning ourselves. And so anything we do to try and control our feelings, rather than learn what they're telling us, will create more pain. The only other intention that we can choose at any given moment is the intention to learn about loving ourselves and others. This is what we can control. We can control whether or not we choose the intention to control, or whether or not we choose the intention to learn about love, about loving ourselves, and about sharing our love with others. And this is, like I said, the most important thing that we can control. This is the essence of our free will. So I want to encourage you to become aware of your intention, because our default setting is the intention to control, to avoid, to protect against pain, which, as I said, is causing even more pain. So becoming aware of your intention moment by moment is vitally important right now. We can change our intention any moment that we want to, but it has to be a conscious choice to open to learning about loving ourselves and loving others. When we choose the intention to learn, you will start to notice that how you treat yourself is what causes most of your feelings. So we also can control most of our feelings. We don't control the feelings that others cause by their unloving behavior towards us, or situations such as COVID-19. We don't control what happens externally. Those feelings, these are feelings of life. These are our existential feelings of life, these deeper feelings that I was talking about, the loneliness, the grief, the heartbreak, the helplessness. We don't control those, but we do control how we respond to them, whether we embrace them with compassion or whether we try to avoid them with all of our unloving and controlling behavior. And so, in so many ways, we do have control over our feelings. We have control over whether we cause our own anxiety, depression, guilt, shame, anger. These are what we call the wounded feelings. And when we abandon ourselves with all those unloving behaviors towards ourselves, we are creating these feelings. And so it's so important to become aware that we're creating so much of our anxiety and our depression by how we treat ourselves, coming from our intention to control our deeper feelings rather than open to them with compassion and a desire to learn what they're telling us. All of our feelings have important information for us. Our wounded feelings, anger and depression and aloneness and emptiness and anxiety, these feelings are telling us about the fact that we're abandoning ourselves. We're not treating ourselves with love and compassion. And the deeper existential feelings tell us about what's happening with another person or a situation that we may need to attend to. We can control our actions, especially towards ourselves and others. And this comes from our intention. When our intention is to learn about loving ourselves and others, then our actions towards ourselves and others and animals and the environment are kind and caring. That's what we have control over, whether we choose to be kind and caring to ourselves and to others, to animals, to our planet. We do control that. Each of us has control over our intention, over the feelings that come from that, and over our actions that come from that. And when our intention is to love ourselves, that's when we are going to take loving actions, the actions of being kind to ourselves and kind to others. We have control over what we put into our bodies. This is so important right now. What we put in our bodies has such an effect on our health. And while it may be very challenging, especially financially right now, to put good food into our bodies, I really want to encourage you to do all you can to stop eating the junk food that's hurting our bodies, to stop eating the fast food that's destroying our immune systems. Right now, we need strong immune systems, which means eating as cleanly and healthily and organically as we can. Now, I do understand that this can be expensive, but there are ways like ordering from a farmer's market, which will bring it to your car, or ordering from Costco, ordering at the many, many online markets such as Thrive Market that offers so many ways of eating inexpensively. I really, really encourage you to take this loving action. This is one of the things that we can control, is the loving action of trying at least the very best we can to feed our bodies well, so that we're supporting our immune systems right now, which will help us to fight off the COVID-19 virus and other illnesses that many people are experiencing. We also have the choice to get exercise, even if it's indoors. But I really do encourage you to choose to get outside when you can safely during this time. Nature is very healing. But even if you can't get outside, take the time to exercise. Take the time to move your body. Not moving is as harmful to the body as eating badly. So you want to be moving around. Don't just sit during this time. Move, get some exercise. What is most important during this time is choosing love over fear. Please pay attention to what you're telling yourself that's scaring you. Fear creates so much stress in the body. And like I said, this is the last thing we need right now, is a lot of stress. And we do have the choice to choose fear moment by moment, or to choose love moment by moment. It's really up to you which one you want to choose. Choosing fear hurts the immune system. Stress hurts the immune system. When we choose fear and we stress ourselves out, our bodies go into fight or flight, even if there's nothing happening in the moment that's scaring us. But our bodies go into fight or flight from our thoughts. And when our bodies go into fight or flight, what happens is that the blood goes into the arms and legs for fight or flight. And this is great if you're running away from somebody attacking you or a mountain lion. This is what our ancestors needed to be safe. But it's not great to be in fight or flight when you're sitting in your home and at this moment nothing bad is happening. But when the blood goes into your arms and legs for fight or flight, it goes out of the immune system. It goes out of your organs. And this is one of the major causes of current illness, is that the immune system goes down and you can't fight off, and the blood not being in the organs leaves you vulnerable to degenerative diseases, which is what so many people are suffering from these days. So you want to be very aware of what you're telling yourself, of whether or not you're scaring yourself. If you find yourself in stress, do something to de-escalate. See, when our ancestors were running from a mountain lion, they had stress hormones. They needed them. But when they ran them off. Like animals who run, and then they're in safety, and then they shake, and they're okay. So when you're in stress, do something physical. Run around wherever you are. Breathe deeply. Also pay attention to what you're telling yourself, because so much of that is what is causing the stress. And pay attention to what you're listening to from others and from the news. Are you stressing yourself out by watching too much news? Certainly we need to be aware now. We need to be aware of what's happening. We need to be aware of what to do and what not to do to keep ourselves safe. But so much of what we watch on the news is frightening. And so you don't want to be scaring yourself too much. This is a time to be in peace. This is a time to learn what you can do to be in peace. So this reminds me of the first part of the Serenity prayer, because we definitely need serenity right now. Some of you, most of you know this, many of you don't. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just take that in, because it's so vitally important right now. That's really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about focusing on what you can change, which is primarily your own intention, how you treat yourself and others, what you put into your body, getting enough exercise, doing what you can to serve. This is one of the things we can do, is serve, is be there for others in whatever way we can. Sometimes it's online. Sometimes it's just being loving, being encouraging to those around us or to those we're with online. Sometimes for those frontline workers, it's serving out there. And we love you, those of you that are doing that. Sometimes it's making masks. Sometimes it's putting together food and dropping it on somebody's doorstep when we know that they don't have enough. And for those of you who are very wealthy and who are not suffering during this time, I really encourage you to donate where you can. One of the things that I thought about is that if the extremely wealthy people here, the 1% of wealthy people, instead of being scared of losing their money, instead of hoarding more and trying to get more, think about giving your money to those who need it, who don't have food, who can't work. Think about serving. This is a time to serve. And we all have that option in one way or another, even if it's just giving a kind word to somebody in your environment or somebody online. We all have the choice to be kind to ourselves and to others. We all have the choice to be aware of our intention. And if you're choosing the intention to control and to avoid and protect against pain, that is not serving you, and it is not serving others. So, I really, really want to encourage you, especially now, during this very, very challenging time, to learn and practice inner bonding, to learn to be aware of what your intention is, to learn to be present for your feelings with kindness and compassion, and for others with kindness and compassion. To learn to notice when you're telling yourself things that are scaring yourself, and to stop, because controlling your deeper feelings is not going to help you or anybody else. And this is a very, very good time to learn to connect with your higher self, your higher guidance, whatever that is for you. To learn to open to learning about loving with that higher guidance that is always here for each of us. When you learn to open to learning, and when you are feeding your body in a way that keeps your frequency high enough, you will be able to access your higher guidance. And I want to encourage you at this time to be asking throughout the day, what is loving to me? What is loving to others? What is in my highest good and the highest good of all right now? See if you can get into the habit of asking that question throughout the day and opening to the answer. This is so vitally important right now, to be open to the guidance, the love, the compassion that is here right now. We don't generate love and compassion by ourselves. We have to open to it. And it is what Spirit is. It is what God is. It is what the universe is. And we can all access that love and compassion and the wisdom that we need now to be safe if we open to learning about love and keep our bodies as clean as we possibly can. So this is a great time to learn and practice inner bonding. For those of you that don't know about it, you can get our free 7-day inner bonding course by going to innerbonding.com. This course will be very, very helpful to you in learning to take loving care of yourself right now, which is so vitally important. So I want to send all of you love and blessings. Please take care of yourself, and please take care of each other, and please be safe. This week's episode is brought to you by the Inner Bonding Masterclass. When you join this membership, you'll be part of a compassionate and supportive community who understands what you're going through and who will help you throughout your healing journey. The Inner Bonding membership is created to provide laser coaching for you and others in the community who may be facing the same struggles, so that you can practice the inner bonding process more effectively and apply it to your life. You also get to vote on the topic that we will focus on in our bi-monthly masterclass. This way, you and the community will always learn about and get guidance on the topic you're requesting most. Go to innerbonding.com/members to join us. You can use the code BENEFIT to get a 10% discount on your registration at checkout. Again, go to innerbonding.com/members.